Okay, so have you ever been at the grocery store, like recently, and you're picking up your usual stuff and you can't shake this feeling that something's off?
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Like the price is the same, maybe even higher, but the bag of chips feels kind of airy,
Right.
or the orange juice carton seems a bit thin. It's just me.
No, not at all. You're not imagining things.
Really?
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
There's a name for this sneaky tactic.
Yeah.
Shrinkflation.
Shrinkflation. Okay, I gotta ask, what is that exactly?
So shrinkflation is basically when companies decide, hey, costs are going up, let's reduce the amount of product we put in our packaging.
Freaky.
But they keep the price the same. Or, even worse, they raise it.
Oh, no.
And they do it really subtly, hoping we won't notice.
Wow. So it's like a stealth price hike.
Exactly.
And I bet we've all fallen for it without even realizing.
Oh, absolutely. And there are tons of examples. Remember that YouTuber who went to Costco?
Yeah.
Back in 2015, filled a whole cart with groceries.
Right.
The total was like $139.76. They went back 8 years later, same Costco, same brands, same products, everything.
Oh, I bet it was way more expensive.
$171.26 for the same stuff.
Whoa. That's a huge jump.
Right.
It's like a 23% increase. And let's be real, most people didn't get a 23% raise in those 8 years to cover that.
Exactly. It's just not sustainable.
Yeah.
And it's not just those big shopping trips either. It's the little things, too.
Yeah.
Like, remember how Gatorade redesigned those bottles a while back?
Yeah, they were going for that sleek, modern look.
Right, that sporty look. But while they were at it, they also shrunk the bottles.
What?
By 4 ounces.
No way. Seriously.
Same height, just a little slimmer in the middle.
So sneaky. It's like they're using the new design to distract us from the fact that we're getting less.
Totally. It's a classic shrinkflation tactic.
Yeah.
And you know what else screams shrinkflation?
What?
Those viral videos about the Burger King chicken nuggets.
Oh, right. Weren't people freaking out because the nugget count in those meals kept shrinking?
Yeah. They went from 10 pieces
10.
down to like 4 nuggets for the same price.
4 nuggets is barely a snack, let alone a meal.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Oh, and speaking of shrinking snacks, what about those bags of chips that are mostly air?
The worst.
I saw this hilarious video where this guy in Australia was holding up a bag of chips like it was some kind of like alien artifact.
Right.
Because it was so small.
It's unbelievable.
And then there were the M&Ms.
Oh, yeah. The M&Ms.
You open the bag, it's like this big puffy thing. You're like, I'm in for a treat, but then there's barely any chocolate in there.
It's all about the packaging. And that's actually a big part of how shrinkflation works, psychologically speaking.
Really?
Our brains, we tend to focus on the price tag first.
Really? Yeah.
Not necessarily the quantity we're getting.
It makes sense.
So if the price seems reasonable, our brains kind of just go, okay, seems legit, even if we're getting less for our money.
Oh, so they're playing with our minds.
Yeah.
But it's not just about these sneaky size changes. They're getting even more creative with their shrinking tactics. Didn't I hear something about tea companies doing this too?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Some tea companies have started making their tea less concentrated.
What do you mean less concentrated?
So you need to use more tea bags or more loose leaf tea to get that same flavor.
Oh, so you're basically paying the same price, but getting less bang for your buck. Literally.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
Like, are you kidding me?
Just be upfront about it.
I know, right?
Don't try to pull a fast one on us.
It's not cool. And it's not just food and drinks.
Wait, really? What else? Don't tell me our clothes are shrinking too.
No, not exactly. But I do think you can make a case for a similar thing happening in the fashion industry.
You're kidding.
There was this fascinating deep dive by a fashion YouTuber.
Okay.
And they were talking about how brands, especially those pricier, fancier ones,
Yeah.
they're starting to use like cheaper materials,
Oh,
cutting corners on things like the stitching, the construction of the garment,
interesting.
but they're still charging those same high prices.
It's like shrinkflation, but for quality.
Right. You're paying a premium, but getting kind of a subpar product.
That's not right.
No, it's not. And what's even worse is online shopping.
What about online shopping?
You can't even feel the fabric.
True.
You can't see those little details until it shows up at your door.
That's so true. The instant gratification of online shopping makes it way too easy to just click and forget about potential quality issues.
Exactly.
This is blowing my mind. What's next? Where else is this happening? Are there other industries where we're seeing this shrinkflation trend?
It really makes you wonder, right? It's a billion-dollar question, and it's something we should all be thinking about.
I mean, it's everywhere. We just never really had a name for it before. Shrinkflation.
It was hiding in plain sight.
It really was. But okay, let's talk about why this actually matters. So what if there are fewer chips in the bag? Or my laundry detergent's a little less potent? Is it really that big of a deal?
I get it. It's easy to dismiss these things as like minor annoyances.
Right.
But here's the thing. Shrinkflation. It's secretly eating away at our purchasing power.
Oh, I see.
Especially with inflation also going on.
Right.
Every dollar we earn, it's just not stretching as far as it used to.
Totally. Like that 23% price hike at Costco, that's a real eye-opener.
It is.
It's like a double whammy.
Exactly.
Prices are going up and we're getting less stuff for our money at the same time.
It's a tough situation.
Hmm.
It makes you think, though, does this affect everyone the same way?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Or are some people hit harder by this whole shrinkflation thing than others?
Like if you're on a really tight budget, you might not be able to switch to a different brand.
Exactly.
Or shop around for a better deal.
Lower income households, they often have to make every dollar count.
That's true.
And they might rely more on those essential products that are shrinking the most.
Right. And then there's the whole question of quality, too.
Oh, absolutely.
If companies are cutting costs by skimping on ingredients or materials, are we sacrificing quality just to get by?
It's a huge concern. Like with the tea example.
Yeah.
If they're diluting it, we're basically paying more for water.
Essentially. Or that fashion YouTuber who talked about brands using cheaper fabrics but keeping the prices high.
Exactly. It's like, what are we even paying for anymore?
I know. It feels like a ripoff. Are there any examples that are, like, particularly bad?
Oh, there are definitely a few that stand out. Like
Right.
in France, they have these bags of Doritos, right?
Yeah.
They're shrinking the bag from 170 grams down to 160 grams.
Nope. Right.
But get this, the price is going up by 26 cents. They even showed a picture of the new price tag, just slapped right over the old one.
They're not even trying to be subtle about it.
Nope, it's blatant. And then there's this hand soap brand, Jet 27.
Okay.
They're lowering the alcohol content
Uh-oh.
from 21% down to 17.9%. So potentially less effective.
Yeah.
But guess what? They're keeping the price the same. Actually, they raised it by 10%.
No way. It's like they're seeing how much they can get away with. But hold on. With all this talk about things shrinking, is anything actually getting bigger these days?
You know, it's funny you should ask that. There's this really strange case with the Quaker Life cereal boxes.
What happened?
So they actually did shrink the amount of cereal inside.
Classic shrinkflation.
But here's the kicker. They made the box itself bigger.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
That's next level trickery.
It's like they're messing with our perception.
So not only are we getting less cereal, but we're also being fooled by the illusion of a bigger box.
Exactly. And to add insult to injury, they changed the name from giant to family size, even though it's smaller than it used to be.
You've got to be kidding. It's almost funny how obvious some of these tactics are, but it also makes you realize how easily we can be swayed by packaging and marketing and all that. It's like we need to become like expert shoppers just to navigate the grocery store aisles. So we're being like shrinkflated left and right. And it feels like, I don't know, a losing battle.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do? Like become those shoppers with a magnifying glass and a scale, like measuring everything to make sure we're not getting ripped off.
It's tempting, right?
It is.
I mean, some people are so frustrated if they're getting creative, let's say.
Creative how?
There was this YouTuber, right? And they were showing how they refill their empty laundry detergent jugs.
Wait, what?
From those bulk dispensers you find in some stores.
Really?
Yeah, like a hack to beat the system.
So they're basically getting like a massive quantity for a fraction of the price.
Pretty much.
I can see why people are tempted, especially with prices being what they are.
I know, right? But it's sparked a whole debate online. You know?
Oh, I bet.
Is it ethical? Is it legal? Where do you draw the line?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Some people are calling it like a Robin Hood kind of thing, sticking it to the big corporations, while others are like, no, that's straight up stealing.
It's a gray area for sure.
It really is.
But it shows how frustrated people are.
Yeah, it's like a symptom of this bigger issue, right? Like I saw in the YouTube videos that Target's dealing with way more shoplifting lately.
It's true.
And it just makes you wonder, like, are some people being pushed to these desperate measures because they just can't keep up with the rising prices, the shrinkflation, all of it?
It's a complex problem with no easy answers, that's for sure.
Okay, but there's got to be something we can do, right? Besides, you know, becoming laundry detergent bandits,
Right.
What can we actually do to navigate this shrinkflation reality?
It's the million-dollar question. I don't have all the answers, but one thing that came up a lot in the videos was buying local,
Like farmers markets.
yeah, farmers markets, local producers, stuff like that.
Okay.
They might be more transparent about their pricing.
Right, right.
You get a better sense of where your money's going.
And what about the quality?
Oh, yeah, that too. Like,
Yeah.
there was this comparison in one video, local jam versus the supermarket.
Yeah.
Kind of. The local stuff was more expensive, yeah. But it really made you think about the true cost of those mass-produced products.
And all the hidden shrinkflation that might be going on.
Exactly.
But buying local isn't always an option. I get that. So what else can we do?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing is just being aware.
Aware.
Yeah, like knowing these tactics exist.
Okay.
It's the first step to fighting back.
So being informed, paying attention, really scrutinizing those labels.
Exactly. Don't just blindly toss things in your cart.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that.
We all are.
Yeah.
But take that extra second, check the unit price, compare brands,
Right.
and don't be afraid to switch to something else if you feel like you're getting a bad deal.
So being a savvy shopper, basically.
Exactly. It puts the power back in our hands a little bit.
But will it actually make a difference, you think?
That's the question, isn't it?
Like, will companies even notice or
Yeah.
care?
It's hard to say for sure,
Right.
but at the very least, it gives us a sense of control, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
We're not just accepting these changes. We're pushing back, demanding better,
I like that.
and making choices that align with our values and our budgets.
A little consumer activism. I love it.
Exactly.
So, listeners, remember, knowledge is power. Next time you're at the store, channel your inner detective. Scrutinize those labels, compare prices, and don't be afraid to demand more bang for your buck. Who knows, maybe, just maybe, if we all start making noise, we can turn this whole shrinkflation tide around. Until then, stay informed and shop smart.